Picture this.
Antarctica, April 30th, 1961. The sun has disappeared for 6 full months. It will not rise again for another 90 days. Outside temperature, minus 66 degrees Celsius. Wind gusts at 120 kilometers per hour. Inside the tiny Soviet station, Novolazarevskaya, barely minus 12 degrees, 12 men. One small generator humming. One radio that barely works, one doctor. And right now, that one doctor is dying. His name, Leonid Rogozov, 27 years old. Leningrad surgeon. His appendix has just burst. Peritonitis is spreading poison through his bloodstream. Every minute counts. The nearest hospital? 3,000 kilometers away. No plane can land. No ship can break through the ice. No helicopter. No hope, so Leonid sits on his bunk, looks at his shaking hands, and makes the most insane decision in medical history. He will cut himself open. With a hand mirror. With only local anesthetic with 2 colleagues who have never held a scalpel, and if he loses consciousness for even 10 seconds, he dies. This is the true story the Soviet Union tried to bury for over 60 years. Novolazarevskaya Station, Queen Maud Land. A name few outside the Soviet Union had ever heard, and even fewer would ever see. 6 small prefab huts connected by narrow tunnels, buried under snow so thick the world outside no longer exists. When the wind howls, the walls groan like dying steel. The men joke that the Antarctic night never sleeps, but even their laughter sounds hollow now. This is the 6th Soviet Antarctic expedition. They arrived here in the brief shimmer of summer sunlight, back when the ice still reflected gold. That was 9 months ago. Now, it is the dead of winter, the endless night. For 6 straight months, the sun hasn't risen once. Inside, the lights burn day and night, not for comfort, but to remind them that time still moves. There's no fresh food left, just canned meat, powdered milk, stale bread, the same gray meal. Every day, the same 12 faces, no birds, no color, only the hiss of the wind against metal walls. They haven't seen another human being in 270 days, not a single sign of life beyond the ice. Leonid Rogozov, 27 years old, is the only doctor among them. He wasn't chosen because he was experienced. He was chosen because he was tough, young, smart, fearless, a man who could survive anything, or so the mission planners hoped. He's not just a doctor here, he's their lifeline. He fixes the generators when they stall, treats frostbite, pulls teeth, even performs minor surgeries when accidents happen. Out here, you don't get to be just one thing. You are everything. Contact with Moscow is rare. Sometimes just a few crackling words through static once a week. Supplies holding. All men stable. That's what the Soviets want to hear. What they don't hear is the silence between transmissions, the way fuel is measured drop by drop. The way men wake up screaming from dreams that smell like diesel and frost. The psychological pressure is brutal. Some start talking to themselves, whispering to the walls. Others stop talking altogether. The cold doesn't just freeze the body, it freezes the mind. In his diary on April 29th, Leonid writes, "Another day of total darkness. I feel weak. Pain in the lower right side. It started yesterday. I know exactly what it is. It still seems like a bad dream. I'm fading away. I just hope I'm wrong. He doesn't know it yet." But those words will become the first line of one of the most extraordinary survival stories in human history. April 30th, morning inside. Novolazarevskaya Station, minus 12 degrees Celsius. The cold presses against every wall, every breath, every pulse. Leonid tries to walk his daily rounds, his legs wobble. His head spins, he can barely stand straight. 10 a.m. Fever, 37.8 degrees. 2 p.m., 38.16. p.m., 38.5. Nausea strikes. Vomiting follows. Heart racing at 110 beats per minute. He sweats despite the freezing air. Classic perforated appendix. The kind of medical emergency that kills in hours, without mercy. Team leader Yuri Burakov watches helplessly. He pleads, "Rest, Leonid. Please, you can't keep going." Leonid knows rest is a death sentence. Every second counts. He calls all 12 men to the mess hall. Calmly, he explains the situation, no evacuation possible. The nearest help is thousands of kilometers away. He explains the appendix will rupture soon. Pain. Poison. Death. The room is silent. Men hold their breath, and then he drops the words that freeze every heart. I will operate tonight. The operation begins at 22 of the hours and will cross into May Rund. On myself. The silence stretches for 30 long seconds. One meteorologist collapses into tears, another whispers prayers under his breath. The driver cannot bear it. He walks out, refusing to witness, but two men step forward. Only two, Zinovy Teplinsky, the mechanic, Alexander Artemev, the meteorologist. Their roles, simple, yet terrifying. Hold the mirror steady, pass instruments, pray, nothing else. Leonid looks at them, his eyes steady, but inside, a storm, hands trembling slightly, lips dry. A lifetime of medical training, and now the most dangerous procedure imaginable, will be performed on himself. Outside, the Antarctic wind howls against the metal walls. Inside, 12 men stare at the future, a man who may not survive the night. And yet, there is no turning back. The die has been cast. At ours, makeshift operating table, a wooden desk, covered with clean sheets. The room smells faintly of alcohol and metal. Leonid sterilizes each instrument meticulously, gown on, mirror positioned, hands trembling slightly, ml of 0.5% Novocaine injected into his abdominal wall. 15 minutes for numbness. First incision, 10 to 12 centimeters just below the navel, 2 centimeters to the right of the midline. Classic McBurney's point. Blind cuts. Blood pours, vision blurs, pain shoots, but he continues. He faints. Cold water on his face, breath ragged. He wakes. In his diary that night he wrote, I was afraid I would lose consciousness and the operation would fail. Continues. Second faint at 40-minute mark. Awakens again. Keeps cutting. Finally reaches the peritoneum. Fingers shaking, heart pounding. Pushes intestines aside. Finds the appendix. 6 centimeters long, 2 centimeters thick, completely black with gangrene. 1 millimeter from rupture, clamps the base. Cuts it free. Drops it into a metal tray. The smell of rotting flesh fills the tiny room. Cleans the cavity with saline. Stitches the stump. 3 layers, muscle, fascia, skin. Last stitch, 23:45. Total time, 1 hour, 45 minutes. Blood loss, nearly a liter. He whispers, cracked lips trembling. It's done. The tension breaks slightly, but the room remains heavy with relief and disbelief. They carry him carefully to his bunk. Every step is silent, every movement measured. Leonid refuses painkillers, terrified that vomiting or sudden movement will tear open the stitches. He lies perfectly still for 6 hours. Every breath feels like fire in his chest, every heartbeat a drum threatening to betray him. Outside, the Antarctic wind screams against the metal walls. Inside, the only sound is his shallow breathing and the faint clink of instruments being returned to trays. AM. He slowly reaches for his own pulse. Fingers trembling, still alive, still beating. Temperature dropping, but steadily, not fatally. Relief is quiet, almost imperceptible. The men around him exchange glances, a mixture of fear, awe, and disbelief. By May 2nd, he is able to sit up. Stiff, pale, every muscle aching, but alive. By May 8th, Leonid is back at work, moving among the men, treating frostbite, fixing generators, performing surgeries. The life of the station depends on him, and he has returned from the brink. The appendix? Preserved in formalin, black as coal. The jar still carries the original label. Appendix of Leonid Rogozov, removed by himself. 1V 1961. It remains on display today in the St. Petersburg Arctic and Antarctic Museum, a reminder of one man's extraordinary courage in the face of absolute isolation. Diary entry. I did not sleep at all last night. It hurts like the devil, but I didn't allow myself to think about anything other than the task at hand. Words written in agony, words that capture the extraordinary discipline, focus, and sheer willpower of a man performing surgery on himself alone, in the most hostile place on earth. The Soviet government classified the diary for decades. The full story remained buried, hidden from the world. A secret testament to courage that few could even imagine. Only in 1992 did the truth finally emerge, revealing the magnitude of Leonid Rogozov's feat. Today, medical journals, including the British Medical Journal, recognize it as the greatest feat of self-surgery in history. His case continues to inspire not only doctors but explorers, adventurers, and psychologists studying human endurance. NASA now examines cases like this under the chapter, Psychological Resilience in Extreme Environments, Lessons for Mars. For missions where isolation, danger, and extreme conditions are inevitable, Rogozov's courage provides a blueprint, a reminder that the human mind, when focused on the task at hand, can overcome almost anything. Some stories don't need monsters. Some nightmares aren't made of shadows but ice. Steel and pure will, one man, one knife, one frozen continent, a feat so extraordinary it defies imagination. Yet it really happened. If you want more forgotten truths, stories that refuse to stay buried, and moments from history that leave a scar, hit that subscribe button. Veins of the Past, where every scar tells a story. See you in the next one.